Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? It's fight week yet again. We have Tszyu taking on Tony Harrison. This is an opportunity for both guys to secure an undisputed match versus the undisputed champion at 154, Jermell Charlo. Of course, we all know that Jermell Charlo was scheduled to defend his mandatory versus Tszyu, who had been the mandatory for the WBO. Was it the WBO? I believe for the WBO for quite some time. And, of course, Jermell Charlo had fought for undisputed twice, got a draw the first time, won the second time very convincingly with a stoppage. And he ended up hurting his hand going into the fight with Tszyu. So Tony Harrison, who had a really good performance versus Sergio Garcia, now has an opportunity to fight Tszyu to put himself right back into title contention and can set up a third fight versus Jermell Charlo, which would be fantastic. The first two were very good. Got a draw with Jermell Charlo. Well, he won the first fight with Jermell, and then Jermell won the second fight. So both fights were very competitive and entertaining, and I would love to see a third one if he can beat Tszyu. So it's a lot on the line for both guys. This fight is going to be in Australia, in Sydney, Australia. Tszyu is from Australia, of course. We know his father, Tszyu, legendary fighter from his time, and you know, from over there in Australia. And I think this is going to be a fight where we see both guys push it to the limit. Of course, Tszyu being the younger guy, 28. Tony Harrison, not very old. He's 32, but he's been through some wars, been stopped 3 times, been in big fights. He's fought on a world-class level. He's been here before, and I think those are some things that can give him an edge. But again, there could also be an edge for Tszyu because he's a fresher, younger fighter, hasn't been through as many wars. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know, and he's in his prime right now. And, you know, I think you can point to a few different things for each fighter on why this fight is big, why this fight means a lot, why there's a lot on the line. And I'm really interested to see if it's going to be Tszyu rising to the occasion, being everything that his fans say he is, everything that the people over in Australia say he is, the second coming of Tszyu, this powerful, walk you down strategically, systematically, this robotic guy who just comes forward and knocks people out, and just a great fighter. This is what they claim Tszyu is. He's supposed to be this big deal. They really made a big deal of Tszyu coming up as a prospect. Now he's an actual contender. It's time to really see if he's everything that they said he was. And then for Tony Harrison, he's training now. You know what I'm saying? He's an actual trainer for the undisputed champion in women's boxing, Alicia Baumgartner. So he has other avenues that he's been focusing on. And is this, you know, question is Tony Harrison done as a boxer? Does he have a second win? Can he, you know, pick himself up and have a run for a second half of his career? All of that is on the line right now. So let's talk about stylistic matchups. We know Tony Harrison is a very good boxer. Overall, just a really skilled guy who can punch, but he leans more on the jab, the counter punching, head movement, defense. Sometimes he can get a little bit reckless. Sometimes he can start feeling himself in a fight and get loose and leave himself open when he shouldn't leave himself open. But overall, Tony Harrison is a very skilled boxer, got good feet, good head movement, high boxing IQ, got a jab, a nice left hook, got a really good straight right, nice 1-2 on him. Tony Harrison, from a boxing standpoint, is clearly the better fighter in my opinion. If we're just looking at fundamentals, the boxing, the skills, slickness, defense, being able to put combinations together, counter punching, I think that's all Tony Harrison. We look at Tszyu. He got a nice jab. He has a really good right uppercut to the body. He loves to go to the body. More of a methodical guy. He doesn't throw as many punches as I would like to see. If he can get you hurt, he will start running off combinations. But for the most part, he's patient, steadfast. He comes forward and looks for his shots. Sometimes I feel like he can get too comfortable with allowing his opponent to be first. Especially when he's trying to walk a guy down and he hasn't really cut the ring off, or he hasn't really cornered his opponent the way he wants to. Sometimes he can get stagnant with just waiting for the perfect window, the perfect shot, and his opponent is getting off. Maybe it be the jab, or maybe it's like a lead left hook or something. And those are opportunities that I see for Tony Harrison in this fight. I see opportunities for Tszyu because he's going to be strong. He's going to have a lot of energy. Tony Harrison has shown later in fights that he can fade. I can see Tszyu coming forward, walking him down, being patient, waiting for Tony Harrison to make a mistake, and then boom, catching him with the perfect shot. I can see him catching Tony Harrison with a body shot in this fight. I can see him throwing an overhand right and catching Tony Harrison lacking and leaving himself open for a big shot. So, man, it's a lot of things to look for. It really just depends on who's more prepared. It really depends on who wants this shit more. Like I said, both fighters have so much motive. They have so many reasons why they should put their best foot forward in this fight, because on the other side of that is an opportunity to be undisputed. On the other side of that is an opportunity to fight arguably the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, Jermell Charlo. On the other side of that is a chance to be the king of your division and instantly put yourself in pound-for-pound talks, instantly put yourself, at the top of your division, and it can increase your brand, your bag, and it can increase your earning potential. So this is a huge fight for both guys. I have to say that stylistically, I like Tony Harrison in this fight. Stylistically, I think logically, and Tszyu will be the favorite in this fight. I don't know by how much, but he will be the favorite in this fight. He's a younger guy. They're fighting in Australia, fresher guy. Some people might think he's the more physically strong guy. It's really gonna be interesting to see, which guy brings their A game and who wants it more. Like I said, stylistically, I like Tony Harrison, but when you're just looking at the war of attrition, who's the stronger fighter? Who's the more determined fighter? Who has more stamina? Who can last the longer in the championship rounds? That edge, in my opinion, would go to Tszyu. I think Tony Harrison can pull himself together and be strong for 12 rounds. I've seen him do it before. If you've been paying attention to Tony Harrison, he's been in phenomenal shape. So I think this is going to be one of those fights that he is prepared to go the long haul and prepared to. I think it's just going to come down to discipline for Tony Harrison. I don't really think stamina is going to be a problem in this fight because he's in such great shape. I think it's just going to come down to discipline, staying disciplined for 12 rounds. And for Tszyu, I think he's going to have to up his punch rate in order to, put Tony Harrison in positions where he have to throw when he don't want to throw, and make Tony Harrison, wear him down. Put him in a position of where Tony Harrison have to let his hands go in corners on the ropes, and you can get openings and land those big shots that you want to land. With all that being said, man, for my final prediction, I am going with Tony Harrison. I just think stylistically, Tony Harrison is poised to pull the upset in this fight, even though he's in Australia, even though I don't really see him stopping Tszyu, and is ultimately going to come down to the cards. I think Tony Harrison would have done a good of enough job boxing and a convincing enough job boxing and using the jab, using the straight right behind it, countering when Tszyu gets sloppy, and being first with the jab, really showing ring generalship, using the whole ring, boxing off of the back foot. I think we're gonna see Tony Harrison up his game in that department, and I think he'll be strong and conditioned enough to be able to do that over the course of 12 rounds. I think Tszyu is gonna take too long to get going, and I think it's gonna be too late once he start finding the rhythm of Tony Harrison, and he's not gonna be able to stop him. I think Tszyu got to stop Tony Harrison to win this fight. If it's gonna be a fair decision, I think he got to stop him to win this fight. I don't see him outboxing and winning on the cards unless he maybe knocks Tony Harrison down a couple of times, which is possible. But I think Tony Harrison knows what's at stake. And I see him, I know that he really wants to fight Jermell Charlo again, and he knows that this is the route to do that. And I don't really see him allowing Tszyu to stand in the way of that. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. I got Tony Harrison by unanimous decision. I just think he's going to be sharp, man. I think he's going to be real sharp. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, who you got and why. Break it down for me in the comments. And stay tuned for more videos. We got more fights to break down, more predictions to do over the course of the next few weeks. You know, we got David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. We got Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Inoue versus Fulton just got announced officially. So y'all stay tuned, man. Contender Regime Boxing. I'll holla at y'all boys, man.